Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings on your Tuesday morning during the short week, 4th of July week, number 250. Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Tuesday is what it is. It's now the middle of the week, though, huh? Kind of the middle of the week right now if you got a 4-day week. But just a couple programming notes. First of all, Wednesday night, tomorrow night, Dr. Ricky J. Phillips series part 3 on church protocol, the educational series from the streets to the cross, will have its encore run 6:30 Wednesday night. As far as all our other programming this week, everything is going to be pretty much on schedule. We're going to do New Mercy Mornings through Friday morning. We're slated to be able to do it all week, so we won't have a problem. We should be here through Friday morning, and also every night we will have Night Flight. That's still on every night this week, and for the weekend, Popcast will be on schedule. So the holiday will not be changing any of the programming. So we'll be right here with you every single step of the way, counting on us, just like Yoey said. So you know how it works all through the morning. I burst in now and then, and we talk and we laugh and we pray and we have something encouraging or crazy or interesting to talk about. But that's how we do it here on New Mercy Mornings, here on your Double Pop Worship Zone on your Tuesday morning. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, Tuesday morning. Scripture verse, because you know, the Lord, that's who is in charge here, really, isn't he? Yeah. Psalm 138:8. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your love, O Lord, endures forever. Do not abandon the works of your hands. What is his purpose for you? I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, every day I wonder what his purpose is for me. You know, I've worked over 30-something years in healthcare, and 35 years total, 32 in my current field. Went to broadcasting school as a youngin'. I went to Southern Connecticut State University, communications major, and thought that was my purpose. And you can tell God what you think your purpose is, and he will tell you something different sometimes, most of the time, quite often. The only person I think he probably has never done that to is my younger brother and my youngest child. They all said their purpose from when they were kids, and they have become it. My younger brother intended a life in soccer, and that's what he has been his whole life. And my youngest child wanted a life in food service, being a chef, and that's what he's been all his life. The Lord's purpose for him. The purpose may change. Now, they may decide other things. We've always said special needs kids has always been a great place for our youngest. He'd be fantastic at that. Special needs kids love him for some reason. They're attracted to him. It works really well. But he's always wanted to be in food, and that's what he's been. The Lord threw a real slider at me. Okay, I started out, my first 5 years in healthcare with, hospital work and direct patient care. Loved it. But, kind of sometimes it was hard to feed a family with it, when you're a dude, So he found me a career in orthotics and prosthetics, which I've done for the last 32 years. And I can't say I've always been in love with it. And I've wrestled with it quite a few times, and I've wrestled with prayer and I'm saying to the Lord, what are you doing to me? Why am I in this? And then, I would tell him in the beginning, I'm not even good at it. And then he would say, I'll qualify you. Don't worry, I'll qualify you. So he got me good at it, really good at it. I say that almost begrudgingly, right? Really good at it. But I don't always like it. I don't always like, the situations and whatever. And I long for, a broadcasting life. And he's shown me this. And he said, yep, you can do this now. You can do this now. You can broadcast as long as I'm in it. So here we are. That's not a problem, Lord. Believe me, it's not a problem. I don't mind being a servant to you in whatever capacity you want. But the orthotic and prosthetic thing, I was like, this is God telling me you're going to do something. This is what you're going to do, like it or not. This is my thing for you. We'll find you other things. We'll find you other little things to make you happy along the way to serve me as well. I write devotional, as many people know. And, those are the kinds of things I always thought I was cut out for. And I am. And the Lord purposes that. Pray upon purpose for you. Are you sure you're doing what the Lord wants you to do? Are you confident of that? Are you been doing something that He's given you? You may not like it. Talk to him about that. Ask for a change. Sometimes he grants change for that. Sometimes he'll make you keep doing that and let you do a whole bunch of other things, and then you don't have 2 minutes to your whole day. Welcome to my world. Double Pop Worship Zone. New Mercy Mornings, Tuesday. I'm Dave. Double Pop Worship Zone, 35 past the hour on your Tuesday morning. So some June 30th moments, okay, historical moments, and you can now look so brilliant with friends and family over this, okay? Today in 1859, French acrobat Charles Blondin became the first person to cross my favorite place, Niagara Falls, on a tightrope. I've seen Niagara Falls more times than I care to admit, and let me tell you something. I don't even picture anybody on a tightrope there. Although every time I'm there, I imagine new possibilities for attractions when I'm there, and they upset my wife because they all involve being like launched into the falls in some way. Like they have a crane there, okay? And I always say, they ought to have like a dangler. I go where they just attach you to the crane and just hang you over, put the crane out and hang you over the falls. They have the zip line. I know people are saying they have the zip line. That zip line is horrible. That zip line is not worth the wait in line and the amount of money for it. It's right. It's not even into the falls. It's right alongside. It is not worth your trouble. Do not do the zip line, and don't tell me about the zip line. The zip line ain't worth the trouble. Okay? But my dangler would be. I also have like a catapult launch platform involved in my head that you can get flung into the falls and parachute you down or whatever. There are just so many options for stuff to do when you get to the falls and what they could be doing that they're not doing. It's a disappointment some of these haven't happened. But if they do happen, maybe I'll invent it, and that'll be the purpose that God was speaking about in Psalms 138:8 for me, right? There you go. Also, today in 1936, the iconic Civil War novel Gone with the Wind was published. Okay, well, the movie came much later. All right, now I know this is Christian radio. Okay. And we don't say dirty words here, and we will not today. That's not gonna happen here ever. And it wasn't really a dirty word. It's a word that's in the Bible actually, but we won't say it in the context that it was said. As a child, one of the coolest things that you could possibly do was attend a movie where somebody said something inappropriate. If you had gone to a movie that week and seeing a movie that somebody said something that you wouldn't say to other people, then you were the coolest cat on the block. By far, you were the coolest cat on the block if somebody said a dirty word. So anyway, friend of mine, Rick, bless his heart, known him good 50 years, ran into him recently, said, my father's taking me to go see Gone with the Wind. Do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, all right. Well, at first I don't think I jumped on it. I go, yeah, okay. And he goes to me, well, so they say a dirty word in it. He goes, it's a swear movie. A swear movie is what they used to call it. It's a swear movie. All right. And so I said, oh, really? I got all excited. Rick's father was a real generous guy. He bought all kinds of food. He was the coolest dude. And Rick was the youngest child of the family, and he was so much younger than his siblings that he was like an only child. And so he got everything he pretty much wanted, and I'll leave it at that. And so we went to the movies, and Rick's father loaded us up with food, and we waited and then the concession counter closed down, so there was no more food. And if you've ever watched Gone with the Wind, okay, and Titanic, you know how long those pictures are, okay. We're going on 3.5. What are we on? 4, almost 4. They're an eternal, and then there was a break in the middle of it. It is ridiculously long. And the word that's meant to be said that was not the good word is the final word of the movie. The last word said. And this is now 15 minutes after midnight. Okay. Barely awake. And they finally said it. And I could hardly get a chuckle out of it. And, excuse me. And, yeah. And finally it was said. I hardly even felt cool after seeing that. All right. I didn't even want to mention it to people that hadn't heard that. Right. But voice is creaky today, guys. Anyway. So, and then of course you would say, when you went to a swear movie, you have to say the word to your friends 150,000 times. And of course you'd have to get down on your knees and ask the Lord to forgive you 150,000 times. I don't know if I did that 150,000 times, but you had to ask for forgiveness. And grace. Double Pop, Worship Zone. Interesting tidbits for your Tuesday morning. Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings on your Tuesday, 20 past the hour. So I said before that I spent 35 years in healthcare. It's actually now 38. 38 years. Come and gone. Yeah, that's what I've done. Anyway, so I'm going to talk to you. We're a cat house. We have cats. We've always had cats. We occasionally, there's been a dog here and there, okay? But we're a cat family. My wife and I have always loved kitties. And we take care of not only ours, we take care of a feral group and whatever, which is how we got one of ours and whatever. And he's a good boy. And that's it too. I mean, he's a good boy. We have an older cat, 16 years old. She's a good girl. They're like roommates to us. They're like family pets. They're like pets to the house. Okay, we always say they're our roommates. Okay, not really our pets. So my wife wanted a cat that was kind of like one she could bond more with. Okay, she's home a lot, and she was kind of looking for a cat that her and the cat would grow close together and whatnot. Well, 3 years ago, we got October, the cat, and for a little while, October and her are hitting it off, but she winds up liking me better. And, now October's like my puppy dog, and doesn't really like my wife at all. Okay, they do not get along. They are, kind of at odds a lot. Okay, Tobe bites my wife a lot. My wife has to yell at her a lot. There's discord, more than the usual mother-daughter discord. Okay, that those because she's kind of she would be a teenager in cat years, so it's kind of more than the teenage child and mother sort of thing. We've tried things between them to try to get them to bond and work it out together. And the cat can pick up on my wife being resistant to the idea because she just knows that the cat doesn't really like her all that much, and she doesn't want to make the cat like her. So so now she's been saying she wants to try again with another cat, and try to bond with another cat. And so she's talking about a male cat, and Gritty, one of the feral boy who we took in now 7 years ago, adores my wife. He really does. He's not, like I said, he's not, following her around the house like October does with me, but it's, Tobe's a Maine Coon. It's kind of the nature of the breed. They're kind of dogs in a cat body. But Gritty comes over and sits with my wife several times a day and, stops and visits her, and, they have a little bit of time and whatever. But I say, he'll then go upstairs and go to sleep for about 5-6 hours. Okay, and we won't see him. He's more of a house cat. He's a family pet. I always say roommate, not real close with not real close with anybody. But he loves on my wife a lot. Anyway, so if my wife gets another boy, how's he going to be? And I don't want him to get he's fixed, but I don't want him to get territorial and whatever. It's gonna be a rough go. So I don't know. So now we're having I don't really know if we want another cat. 4 cats, be a bit much. But we're getting older, so it's like, is it easier? Is it harder? Do we just do the things we want to do now and make sure we get to do them? Who knows? But I want my wife to be happy too. So we're gonna discuss another cat, which she probably will get her way on sooner or later. But right now, she's kind of holding off to see what happens to the oldest one, baby, who's 16. You probably have heard her on Popcast. She yells sometimes in the background if I'm doing Popcast from the home studio. And you hear her. She's getting old and a little senile and a little getting a little slower, but to be expected for her age. But she don't look like she's going anyplace. So we got a rough decision ahead of us here on cat number 4 if we're going to do that. So we got to pray upon this one and see if it's time for another pet. They get expensive too. Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings. Tuesday. It's kind of midweek, isn't it? Yeah. Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings on your Tuesday morning, 1:15. I'm Dave. I'm still Dave. So, a coworker of mine's getting a car today. Isn't that great when you're able to get a car, you're able to make a big purchase, okay, and in her case it's a new purchase, and she's really really excited about it and all that, and I'm like, I'm just so happy for people when they're able to have those moments, you know what I mean? And obviously we're happy for ourselves when we can do that, but what about when we're happy for other people? When we're able to do those things, when you're able to get a car, and isn't it nice when it's a car? You're the first owner. If you're the first owner, it has that smell that'll belong only to you, and you will be the one person who will always be the first owner of it, and you'll break the car in your own way. It'll because computers hold on to that first owner, okay, and that's how that's what they work with for the whole time you own the car. But do you give, when you make an extravagant purchase or any kind of purchase that you really are excited about, do you stop and give thanks? Are you giving thanks to the Lord every time you're able to make a purchase? Do you take time? Well, do you take time hopefully to pray before the purchase, and then thank Him for the ability to be able to do something after? I am one of those people that I didn't ever think that certain purchases in my life would ever be possible. That everything was going to be totally, pretty much out of my reach, and the fact that now I have like a lot of the things, I live, very modestly, but I'm able to own a home, able to own, and I'm grateful for that. It's like, I just remember the early days of being married, and my wife and I, we had so little. We had, a 2.5 room apartment with the kids and all that. And we had, very, very little. We had 2 rather old cars that needed to get fixed a lot. And we always used to, we never even thought the possibility that we'd own our own home and whatever. And it's like, so when we look back, like sometimes now on our 35 years together, it's like, do you remember that first year or two? And it's like, we had nothing. We had absolutely nothing. And, and I go back and I'm just so grateful for what we were able to receive in those years, that the possibility of things becoming a reality for us was, a reality finally, in our lives. And it's just so great when you are able to say, yeah, here's where we were and here are we now. But what about you? Do you pray? Do you get over your big purchases, and do you give thanks to the Lord after? I hope so. Put something in the Double Pop Worship Zone Facebook group page if you want to discuss anything like that. Ephesians 5:20 says, "Always give thanks to the Lord for everything in the name of Jesus Christ." And that, make sure you take time after big purchases and things that, are, an extravagant win for you. That, remember, this moment belongs to the Lord too. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, 10 after the hour on your Tuesday. So, I know a lot of people are getting ready, thinking about their vacations and summer vacations and stuff. I don't really take a summer vacation. I take one right after Labor Day and then a month and a half later in October. But a lot of people used to do like resorts years ago, like lodges and everything. My parents had like this lodge they used to go to. I don't know how far away it was. I suspect that I don't think it was more than an hour ride, but they weren't home. And they were at this lodge, and I don't know, they sat around a swimming pool, and people brought them, drinks and food, or whatever. And it was their one extravagance they used to have. My parents didn't have a lot of money. And so I kind of wonder how they ever afforded that to begin with. And there must have been a low level package that they bought to be allowed to go there. But lodges were a big thing years ago, and especially amongst the Jewish community up in the Catskill Mountains. If you've ever seen Dirty Dancing, okay, and I know it's Christian program, but if you've ever seen the movie, you know that what one of those places looks like, one of those summer Jewish run lodges looks like. They were very much like that. But in fact, the fact is that some of them were even more extravagant and involved than that one. That one on there was more of a had the like a barracks kind of thing, whereas a lot of these places were rather large scale with hotels and big swimming pools and a lot of great features. And they were commonplace, and they were all over the Catskills. And sometimes when I'm watching some YouTube videos late at night, I love looking at old abandoned sites. Most of those places are abandoned and left, fixed in time, rotting, falling apart, dated. They weren't, as the 70s and 80s went on, they weren't able to make upgrades to them, and they were pretty much looking as such. They were very dated to the times that they were popular. And but they used to be so big that they were full year, from one end of the season to the other. And they had high level entertainment. They brought in big acts to perform and all that. And they had just amazing circumstances. But then they began to fall apart when air travel became cheaper. And when the price of air travel went down, the ability for a lot of these people to travel, to other places other than upstate New York, people were spending summers going to Europe. And, when you could afford that, why would you go to the Catskills again? So they began to slowly but surely lose their grip on the population of people who went to it. And then they started to begin to sell some of them off. There was one place called Brown's, which was the most popular one of all. And some of them began to sell off as condominiums to people who wanted to live there year round. And then there was a fire at one of them that pretty much ended the whole thing and everything for them. And it was, totally heartbreaking to see that, a lot of people lost everything and they weren't able to even claim insurance, anything from it. And their entire life savings was tied up in this place, and it was gone. But sometime check out the YouTube videos of Catskill Mountain lodges and resorts, and you'd be amazed at what you see. They're pretty interesting. They're very stuck in time, but if you like that sort of thing, like I do, if you like abandoned buildings and malls and old arenas and things like that, always check those things out on YouTube. But if you want to see what some of those resorts look like, they were pretty interesting. And think about, look at them and think about what summers used to be like there. They were real exciting. People couldn't wait to get to them and have a ball. And a lot of good times were had and shared there. And it's unfortunate that they're kind of a thing of the past, because they were fairly affordable, and they were, a good time for families to bond and spend together and make the most of their vacations. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, Tuesday. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings on your Tuesday, 50 after the hour. That's going to do it for Tuesday. We'll join you for tomorrow. It's not really midweek Wednesday tomorrow, but we'll join you tomorrow, and we'll be back this afternoon. If you missed anything this morning, make sure you go on the Facebook group page and check you could watch the Encore video, listen to everything. Make sure you didn't miss out on anything, or if you choose to wait, you could have it on the station at 8 o'clock tonight, and you can listen to it then. Or just go on the YouTube page. We're there as well. 11:30 tonight, night flight. Pray, rest, reflect, restore, and go to sleep with Double Pop Worship Zone. We will chill you out in the name of the Lord and give you peace right to the morning. So we will see you again tomorrow. And in the meantime, may Jesus leave the light on for you, and I wish you peace.